Hey guys, happy Easter. Good to, well, not see you, but I guess you're seeing me, whatever you want to call it. Happy Easter either way. Guys, I cannot wait until we can get back together. But until then, we're going to be FaceTiming it, not FaceTiming, YouTubing it, Facebooking it. Guys, some of you have asked about how you can keep on giving financially to the church. You can. One of the easiest ways is to text the number that's on the screen there, and just text the words "give" and the amount you want to give, and it'll hook you right up. If you aren't a member of our church family and you just stumbled upon this, or if you're making a hard time making ends meet right now, do not feel pressured to give at this time. That's not what this is about. But some of y'all have asked about it, so that's why I'm telling you about it. Also, you might have already heard the announcement. We are not going to be meeting in person throughout the entire month of April. I know that's a bummer, but we want to be good neighbors. We want to keep everybody safe, and we're going to follow the guidance of our denomination and the government. So we are not going to be meeting throughout the month of April. Guys, Jesus is risen. That's where we have our hope. This is a great day to celebrate. And even though we're not together in person, let's continue to celebrate him. And throughout your week, this week, we're going to post a playlist today, worship music playlist that you can use and utilize to worship God through music this week. So guys, God bless. Happy Easter. Here we go. Hey guys, happy Easter. Let's get right to the story. We're in Matthew 28, verses 1 through 9. This is one of the very first accounts of the resurrection of Jesus, and that's why that is what we are celebrating this morning. Matthew 28, verse 1, early on Sunday morning, as the new day was dawning, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went out to visit the tomb. They went out to visit this tomb because they expected there to be a dead body inside. They expected that Jesus is still in there. Because that's what happens, right? When people die and you put them in a tomb, they stay in a tomb. Beyond that, they defeated him. They defeated Jesus, right? The Romans got him. This is the mindset that these ladies must have, I can imagine, would have had as they approached this tomb. They finally caught up to Jesus. The religious elite finally caught up to him. And they had him killed. And they won. Because that's what happens, right? Rome wins. Evil wins. So many times I believe that's what we believe. That's what we think. These women are approaching this tomb expecting to have a reaffirmation that there is a dead body in there and that Jesus was slain. Let's keep reading. Suddenly, there was a great earthquake, for an angel of the Lord came down from heaven, rolled aside the stone, and sat on it. His face shone like lightning, and his clothing was as white as snow. His face shone like lightning. He rolled that stone to the side and just sat on it, and his face was shining, it said. I kind of imagine if you ever seen a girls softball team or a little league team or a young person who just won a trophy, as they hold up that trophy in their hand as they claim victory, and that smile, genuine, authentic smile that we've won, look on their face as it shines. And a lot of things to be meant here when it says that the angel's face was shining. But I kind of imagine that pride in Jesus that he won. He ain't here. Move the stone out of the way. We've won. Let's keep reading. The guards shook with fear when they saw him, and they fell into a dead faint. They ain't going to try to fight this angel. They're freaked out. They fall into a dead faint. Then the angel spoke to the women. "Don't be afraid," he said. "I know you are looking for Jesus, who was crucified. He isn't here. He has risen from the dead, just as he said would happen. Come, see where his body was lying. And now go quickly and tell his disciples that he has risen from the dead, and he is going ahead of you to Galilee. You will see him there. Remember what I have told you." The women ran quickly from the tomb. They were very frightened, but also filled with great joy. And they rushed to give the disciples the angel's message. Now, why are these ladies frightened? Well, first of all, they just saw an angel. I mean, I don't know how I would react if I saw an angel. Why else might they be frightened? Because I don't want to get my hopes up. Because they crucified him. And what if we're just imagining things? If the Romans find out about this, if the religious leaders find out about this, they're going to be ticked off. And when Rome gets mad, they start killing people. There's reasons to be frightened for these ladies. As a matter of fact, history records that Rome eventually began killing Christians. Other Christians died on crosses. Other Christians were killed. So there's reason to be frightened. And I think so many times we can look at our own lives. We don't want to get our hopes up sometimes either, do we? Because what if that which was plaguing us comes back? What if the good times and the relationship that we're experiencing now, we think we've gone past some hurdles, what if they come back? So they walk away from the empty tomb with a little bit of fright going on, but also they're filled with great joy, because just what if this crazy thing has happened? Because we've seen Jesus raise people from the dead before, right? Like just to be clear, Jesus rising from the dead is not the first nor the last time in the scriptures that we see people rise from the dead. There's one significant thing to point out here. All those other people who were raised from the dead ended up dying again. And if wherever you can find their grave, their tomb on this earth, their remains are there, not Jesus. Jesus had a bodily resurrection. He lives now and forevermore. Let's keep reading here a little bit more. And as they went, and Jesus met them and greeted them, and they ran to him, grasped his feet, and worshiped him. Then Jesus said to them, "Don't be afraid. Go tell my brothers to leave for Galilee, and they will see me there." Let's go back to that image of the stone being rolled away from the tomb. Now, why was the stone rolled away? I can tell you one reason I believe that stone was rolled away was clearly so we could go in the tomb and see that it was empty. We were invited into a place where there was once death, and there is no more death there now. There's evidence of life. Jesus lives. The Apostle Paul in Romans chapter 8, he begins to discuss how God will redeem all of creation. All the death and decay will be redeemed by God. And when we look in this tomb, we see that death and decay has been defeated, which is really good news, isn't it? Because so many times when we look around the world, we look in our own lives, we see death and decay. Paul goes on to say that we'll have freedom, that Jesus' followers will have freedom from death and decay. What great news that is. Paul even goes further and says in verse 25 that as Jesus' followers, we need to wait patiently. That's hard to do, isn't it? Because when there's death and decay around you, when you're afraid about a pandemic affecting yourself or your family, when you're afraid that you don't know how you're going to make ends meet, when so much death and decay is around you, it's hard to be patient. But yet Paul encourages us to be patient and to wait patiently and confidently. Confidently. That can be hard as well, can't it? But not if we remember the empty tomb. We've been invited in to see that there will be life, that death will be defeated, that decay will be defeated. We've been invited into that. God himself has given us that invitation. We can be confident that Jesus will do the things he said he would do, that he would redeem creation, that he would redeem our own lives. What's Jesus invite us to do? He invites us to come in that tomb, see that death and decay is defeated, and then to follow him. And if we decide to follow him, if we decide to truly give our lives to him, to no longer live for ourselves, but now to make the decision to change the mindset that we'll now live for Jesus. Another word for that is repentance. He will save us. He will give us life. He will give us freedom. So my invitation to you this Easter: have you made that decision to follow Jesus? Do you really believe that the tomb's empty? One of the biggest critiques of the Christian faith is that, no, Jesus is dead. Historians will tell you there was a Jesus from Nazareth. I mean, there's so many records of that. Both his enemies, both his bystanders and Christians say, yeah, there was a Jesus of Nazareth. He existed. But the fact that he rose from the dead, that's a critique. That can't happen. And you know what? It's a fair critique, because I don't know about you, I've never seen anybody rise from the dead. It just blows my mind to think that could happen. But that's why we worship him. That's why we have such great hope, because if it did happen, if he did rise from the dead, maybe he can raise me from the dead too one day. Maybe he can redeem my life and all the screw-ups that I've made and make all things right one day. Just maybe he can do that. So have you decided to follow Jesus? Have you put your faith in him? If you still have doubts, that's okay, because let me tell you something. I have more questions about faith than probably most people. That's just the truth of the matter. If you want a pastor who doesn't talk like that and is super confident and has all the answers, you got the wrong dude. I have so many questions that I cannot wait to one day sit down with Jesus in heaven and ask, which will probably lead to more questions. It's okay to have questions. I would encourage you to do this, and it might sound silly. If you're not a believer, if you haven't decided to put your faith in Jesus, if you're not sure about this Christianity thing, reach out to him. Just pray to him. Say, God, I don't know what I even think about you. He's not afraid of you. He's not afraid of your doubts or your insecurities. Be honest with him. I don't know what to think about you. If you're out there, reveal yourself to me. If you're out there coming to my life, show me that you're there. And as he does, and then keep your eye out, because as he does so, notice it. And put your faith in him. The empty tomb is our hope. The empty tomb is our promise. Guys, happy Easter. God bless. He is risen.